A lot of you probably already know the name Desmond Doss, and even more of you would remember it if I reminded you he was the medic at Hacksaw Ridge. Conscientious objector, wouldn't carry a weapon, still saved 75 men in a single night. But almost none of you have heard about the experimental unit he belonged to. Today we're talking about the 77th Infantry Division, aka the old bastards and army of dads who showed up to World War II like, "Move, you're doing it wrong." Here's the premise. The army needed bodies fast, but they didn't just draft fresh-faced 18-year-olds. They built an entire division where the average age was 33. That's not old in real life, but in boot camp, it's AARP. These weren't kids who needed to be taught how to make a bed. These were men who'd already slept on job sites, paid taxes, and survived supervisors named Frank. You don't have to teach a 35-year-old time management or how to show up on time. Life already did. So when the 77th hit Fort Jackson, it wasn't chaos, it was competence. Drill sergeants tried to hand out life lessons and got, "Cool. Show me what keeps me alive." They crushed marksmanship, crushed discipline, and when Winston Churchill rolled through to peek at America's future warfighters, these guys were the parade unit. Churchill left impressed. The army left with a dangerous idea. What if old age and treachery actually beats youth and exuberance? Cue the Louisiana War Games. The 77th, full of sheet metal workers, phone line techs, and foremen, goes head-to-head with a fresh division of 20-year-olds. Winter. No tents, no fires. Just 2 months of muddy misery. The old bastards immediately weaponize every ounce of workplace experience. Ambushes push the kids into a river crossing at night-soaked socks and broken morale. Then come the pranks only a pre-OSHA construction site could teach you. Night ops with fake orders. HQ needs your Jeep. Click. Thanks for the keys. The phone company guy taps enemy lines, feeds them garbage intel, then the whole division huddles around the handset like it's a campfire podcast, listening to the other side's leadership panic. By the end, the youngsters aren't just beaten, they're demoralized. Old age and treachery wins by knockout. The army sees that and says, "Great, now let's torture you." Welcome to Camp Hyder, Arizona, where the division learns exactly how far a man can march in 100-degree heat on one canteen of water by marching until they pass out. 6-day land nav Hunger Games guided by second lieutenants because, of course, the army hands the compass to the guy most likely to get lost. Men die of exposure. When it's over, the 77th does what soldiers do: process the trauma with dark humor. They invent the Hyder campaign metal sandpaper ribbon, broken thermometer pendant, not recognized by the War Department, obviously, but universally recognized by anyone who has ever been voluntold for nonsense. Then the training carousel keeps spinning. Pennsylvania for advanced rifle work because apparently expert wasn't expert enough. West Virginia mountains to test sub-zero sleeping bags. No tents, no fires, just, if you wake up, the gear works. Virginia Beach in winter for amphibious landings. Great news, you're already cold. Finally, Hawaii for jungle school, where the gate motto reads, "If they don't stink, stick 'em." Translation, if a body isn't decomposing, it might be an ambush. That line lodges in the 77th's collective brain and will matter later. Now to the show, July 1944, Guam, Marine General Holland. Howlin' Mad Smith doesn't trust Army performance after Saipan, so he chops the old bastards up as replacements. Field reports start rolling in. Sir, these guys fight like demons." One Marine battalion commander says, "No doubt the 77th are good people to have alongside in a fight." And the Marines start calling them the 77th Marine Division. For an Army unit, that's like the Jedi Council actually giving you the rank of Master. Smith relents and unleashes the whole division on his right flank. The landing is slow, smooth, and surgical, the least chaotic beachhead anyone has seen. A seagoing Marine watches and says the line that sticks forever, "Would you look at those old bastards go?" 2 weeks later, Guam is secured. The 77th racks up roughly 2,700 confirmed kills for fewer than 250 lost in 11-to-1 ratio against a dug-in enemy on home turf. Everybody's paying attention now. They barely get halfway to R&R before the big green weenie reroutes them to Leyte. MacArthur's bogged down, the Japanese have declared it decisive, and the island is split each side, feeding its front from opposite ends. The old bastards propose something reckless and correct. Motor around, land in Ormoc Bay, cut the enemy supply artery at the throat. You'll be outnumbered 3-1, the brass says. That's just more targets, the 77th answers, and we'll bring supplies, then steal the rest. They splash in on December 7th, seize the bay in 35 minutes, and start digging in when a Japanese landing ship rolls up in the dark, hasn't heard who owns Ormoc now. 50 Cals shred the first barge at 50 feet. Flares bloom. An M10 tank destroyer and the artillery turn that ship into a cautionary tale. Somewhere, a unit historian quietly writes, "Only time an infantry division sank a naval vessel, and every private on the beach grins like they just watched a fireworks show." Then the rampage begins. 8 weeks, 3 cities, an airfield, 43 miles of supply road. They eat the enemy's food, hijack their trucks, burn what they don't need, and hand out death certificates like Oprah hands out cars. By the end, roughly 19,000 enemy dead to 543 American Kaya, AI 36-to-1 ratio. Fort Benning studies it for 40 years as a masterclass in operational violence with logistical improvisation. You want a thesis statement for the 77th? Here it is. Move fast, shoot straight, live off the land, and never fight fair. Next stop, the Karama Islands, 15 miles off Okinawa. The mission looks like busy work until they find a hidden fleet. 360 explosive suicide boats, kamikazes of the sea, staged to ram the invasion armada. The old bastards, maybe this was a waste of time, turns into, we just saved a lot of ships. That's the thing about experience. You secure the boring island and accidentally prevent a catastrophe. Okinawa kicks off on Easter Sunday, and the 77th waits in reserve because command knows what they are, problem solvers. The first problem is Ishima, a nearby airfield. 5,000 dug-in defenders. 6 days later, almost none surrender. Nearly all are killed. The 77th loses 258 men and takes the island. Meanwhile, Okinawa is a meat grinder. 100,000 defenders, tunnels, interlocking machine gun fire, artillery everywhere. The 96th Division gets chewed up at a 100-foot escarpment that will be called Hacksaw Ridge. The 77th gets the fix-it tasking. 2 battalions go up and get blasted back. Everybody retreats except a soft-spoken medic named Desmond Doss. No rifle, no sidearm, just stubborn faith and rope. He spends the night crawling through hell, lowering wounded men over the cliff one by one. 75 lives. The next day, the old bastards attack again. 1 battalion frontal, 1 flanking, and they finally crack the ridge. Doss survives his wounds and goes home with a Medal of Honor. The division keeps marching. Then comes the Shuri Line, a natural wall of hills and cliffs with 50,000 defenders and overlapping fields of fire. 2 Marine divisions and another Army division are pinned. The 77th's lane is half a mile wide and 2 miles deep. It takes 32 days of non-stop fighting to punch through. 14,000 enemy die in that postage stamp of earth. When the Shuri Line finally breaks across the island, the Japanese have no more major defenses left. Okinawa ends not cleanly, not quickly, but inevitably. The 77th sails to the Philippines to retool for the unthinkable first wave into mainland Japan. Then the war ends in atomic thunder. Relief hits like a wave, followed by one last chore. All over the Pacific, Japanese units are still hiding. On Cebu, about 5,500 of them agree to surrender to anyone except the old bastards. Maybe they remember Leyte and the blue Statue of Liberty patch. Maybe it's the 77th's prisoner ratio. Across the Pacific, the U.S. averaged about 44 enemy Kia for every 1 POW. The 77th's ratio was wildly higher, and at Okinawa, their captured per kill numbers were microscopic. Whatever the reason, the holdouts refused to walk into a camp guarded by the men who've been handing out those death certificates. So the old bastards get clever one last time. They strip the patches off some fresh-faced replacements and send the kids up the mountain to accept the surrender. Weapons stacked, formations formed, everybody starts marching down. At the foot of the hill, A wall of middle-aged men with Statue of Liberty patches back on. There's a collective "oh no" from the Japanese ranks, and then nothing dramatic. The 77th tells them to get on the boat so everyone can go home. That's the final trick, not a bullet, just a quiet end engineered by experience. 11 months of combat, about 2,100 old bastards killed, tens of thousands of enemies put in the ground, 6 medals of honor, hundreds of silver stars and bronze stars, a fistful of distinguished unit citations, and one unofficial sandpaper medal that maybe tells you more than all the rest. The 77th Infantry Division started life as an experiment. Can you build an army out of old guys? The answer was yes. Yes, and then some. They were the Marines' favorite army division. They were the problem solvers. They were the dads who showed up, fixed it, and went home. This was the high-level tour. Next, we drill down Louisiana's prank war, the desert trials at Hyder, the 2-month rampage at Leyte, the suicide boats at Karama, Doss on the Ridge, the 32-day knife fight at Shuri, and the surrender nobody wanted to give the old bastards. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for updates.